class, and welcome to our just sort of beginning of the course and week one welcome and learning guide video. In a minute here under week one, I'm going to go over the learning guide and go into a little bit of detail about some of the assignments for week one of our course. But the first thing I want to do is actually touch on some of the stuff under syllabus/important info. So first things first, just the course syllabus. I'm going to open this up really quick and kind of go through a little bit of this with you. Do read this yourself still, or skim through it. Just be sure to look through it because it does have important information about the course. So this is CIS 2131 Python programming. My name is Noah Clark. I am your instructor for the course. Here you can find my OCC email. Please feel free to email me, reach out if you need anything throughout the course or during this first week of class. If you need anything, you can do that. There is also a class Discord server that you can join. There's more information about that in the announcements for the course. So see that if you're interested. I would highly recommend joining it if you are comfortable with that. Again, read the information about it, but it's a very good way to get a hold of me. And that is also an acceptable way to contact me in addition to email. Some information about the course, right? It's asynchronous and remote, and it's online. We'll go into more about what that means in a little bit here. You can see the course catalog description. There's no prereqs. Some common course outcomes are listed here. Here is our textbook for the course, right? So this is actually a free resource right here, Py4E or Python for Everyone. So that is the textbook that we're going to be using for the course. I've provided a link here to the website, but every week I've also provided a link to the specific chapters that we're looking at. So I'll show you that in a little bit here, but just know that if you ever need to get to the site and don't remember where it is that the textbook is, you can go ahead and come to the syllabus, and it does have the textbook link inside of it. Go over supplemental materials, plagiarism and cheating. This is my grading policy. So I use a straight point system for the course. So there's 4 projects in the course. These are worth 100 points each. There's a final project that is worth 200 points. There is a midterm exam. This is worth a 100 points. And then there's homework that varies. This is usually discussion posts or labs that I'll post. Usually these will be worth about 10 points, but I'll always be specific in the instructions and tell you how much it's worth. Or you can go under grades and you can actually look at how much it's worth as well there. Here's the grading scale, right? So just a continuation. It shows you the letter grade that you'll get for what percentage you have in the class. This is an important section right here, this NMARC grade or non-attendant policy. So if you do not submit a graded assignment within the first week of class, then you may get marked down for an NMARC grade. And what this does is it basically drops you from the class. And this does affect financial aid. So I would highly, highly recommend. I've provided 2 different opportunities, 2 graded assignments in the first week of class. Go ahead and do those. They are required, so you cannot skip them anyway. But if you want to stay enrolled in the class past the first week of class, please, please, please go do those assignments. Get them done by the first week. It's very important, and it also is required for the course. For my late policy, as a standard, I do a 5% deduction that is applied for every day that the assignment is late. And then after 5 business days, the assignment will no longer be accepted unless I approve such an exception. So if you know that you need extra time on an assignment, or you need to submit an assignment late and there's a specific reason, or whatever comes up, just keep an open line of communication with me. Reach out via email or Discord. Let me know what's happening. If you need, an extension, I'm usually pretty forgiving with stuff. So please do just reach out and let me know what's going on so that I can assist you the best way possible. Next, we have some student policy and support information. You can go ahead and look at this. We have FERPA, ADA, Academic Support Center, technology appropriate use regulations, public safety, all that good stuff. And then finally, at the bottom of the syllabus here, you can see our course schedule. Now, as a disclaimer, this schedule can change if necessary circumstances deem a change, but I will give you reasonable notice for any revisions. So here you can see the dates, and these are not the start dates, just so we are clear. The weeks run Monday to Sunday, right? So this first week is the week of 113. Well, the week of 113, the 113 is actually a Tuesday, right? So the week actually starts, at least of school, on 112 and will run to 118. Which is a Sunday. So just take note of that. Just take note of all the start dates and due dates of assignments, and you'll be perfectly fine. This is just to note what the date is for a date at the beginning of the week, right? Here we have the topics listed, and there's the midwinter recess. I post any readings in here so you can see what chapters we're reading for what week. And then I post the assignments when the assignments are assigned in here. As a general rule, I try to give everyone about 3 weeks per project. But again, just double check in D2L. You can look at the due dates of assignments, double check the due dates, and just make sure you put it in your calendar or something about when assignments are due. So that way you don't accidentally miss a due date and end up missing out on points on an assignment where it could have been avoided. So that's all for our syllabus. As a new section that I've kind of added as AI has become a lot more popular, this is my policy on AI. So if you ever have any questions about if something's acceptable, you can refer to this document. And if the document doesn't really answer your question, then do please reach out to me and ask me how I feel about it, and I will get back to you and let you know if it's an acceptable use or a non-acceptable use for the class. It's better to reach out and ask me than to submit an assignment and it not be acceptable, right? So please do just read through this document. I'm not going to read it all here. I will just take note of things, right? So these 3 numbered things right here are the important parts. So you can use AI like ChatGPT to help you understand a concept better. And if you're coding or watching a lecture and need a different or better explanation, you can ask AI to explain the concept for you. So let's say, so for week 2, we're learning about variables, right? Let's say the concept of variables, it's not clicking in your head based on the lecture or the reading. Well, you can ask ChatGPT, hey, can you explain to me, can you give me an explanation of variables in Python? That is acceptable use. That is okay. The main thing that you cannot do is ask AI to generate your assignment for you. You should understand the code that you are writing and be able to explain what the code does. And you should be able to write the code yourself, right? And so I do give in number 3 a little thing about if you do utilize AI when you are doing an assignment, right? So if you do utilize AI in an assignment, you must cite your source. So you will be required to cite whatever AI you used as a source in a comment in the code, and you will need to explain what the section of code is doing in a comment. The same goes for code taken from anywhere on the internet, right? So this doesn't just apply to AI. This applies to if you're just like searching for how to do like one specific function or something like that. You're trying to get help and you find something that's like, oh, you know what? This is actually is exactly what I need. Well, you can use that for a small section. Think about it in terms of like when you write papers. Well, you do cite sources in papers and you can use quotes, but you need to cite your sources and the whole thing can't be another person's work. So the main thing is about the code and everything being your own work. And you do need to cite your sources. And I am able to tell a lot of the time if something is AI generated. So don't think that you can get away with it because I will know. And if I do find out that you did use AI or something else and didn't cite your sources, that is academic dishonesty, right? And it could result in you getting dropped from the class. So please, please, please cite any sources and a comment in the code, and also explain what that section of the code is doing so I know that you understand what's happening. And if I ever suspect that something is generated by AI, or I see that you did use AI in something, do be prepared that I may ask you to like hop on a Zoom meeting or a Discord call with me, and I could ask you to explain what your code does. So just take note of that. And again, cite your sources when you use them. If you're unsure, please reach out to me. So this document is always here if you need it. It's under the syllabus/important info section. And then I do have a help discussion board. This is another way that you can reach me throughout the class. I haven't done this type of thing before, like a discussion board for students to reach out, but I thought it would be nice to have the option there for students who would prefer this. Do note that everyone else will be able to see whatever you put in the discussion board if they go to the discussion board. And I will do my best to answer whatever you put in here. But if it's been a day or two and I haven't answered, or if it's something really pressing, I would recommend just using Discord or email, as I'm more likely to see it faster than if it's just posted in the help discussion board. Okay. So we'll head over to week 1 now. This is what we're going to be doing for the week. So in every week, I'm going to have a learning guide for the week. And this basically tells you what sort of stuff you should be doing for the week, what graded assignments there are for the week. And I'll always provide a video going over the learning guide that may give you some additional information. So I would highly recommend watching the learning guide video for the week and looking at the learning guide yourself. But let's go ahead and take a look. Week 1 starts on January 12th. Take note that week 2 starts on January 19th. So that means that week 1 ends on January 18th. Okay. So in our week 1 learning guide, greetings all. I'm Noah Clark, and I will be your instructor for this course. So there's some information about me right here. I have a Bachelor of Science in game software development from Baker College, and I've been working in game development for a few years now. I've also been teaching for a couple years now, and I'm currently working on my master's degree in computer science through WGU. We mentioned the words remote and asynchronous earlier in the syllabus. Well, this is the definition of what that means. So remote is related to location. That means that you don't need to come to campus or anywhere to receive instruction. You learn at home or wherever you're connecting from. And then asynchronous is related to time. This means that I'm not going to be holding live sessions at any particular time that you need to show up to. I will upload pre-recorded videos or lectures that contain material for the week. So it's very much a at your own pace. Well, not as much at your own pace, but on your own time throughout the week. You need to go through all of the content, whether it's videos or assignments or readings. And then there's just some other information just welcoming you to the class. This is a typo right here. This is because I used a template from my data structures course, so I'll actually fix this by the time you guys see it, but you can just ignore that part for now in the recording here. So, right, what should you do for the week? This is kind of this section right here is what you're going to be seeing in most of my learning guides. The what should you do for the week, preparation, and graded assignments. Okay. So for preparation, be sure to read through the syllabus carefully. Be sure to read the appropriate chapters based on the syllabus, and you can additionally read any supplemental material that I provide, if any. Again, remember for this course, since the textbook is online, I've provided a link to the textbook chapters that you're supposed to read in each week of the course to make things easy on you. Watch any video lectures that I've posted a link to. For this week, you can join the Discord server, which is optional but highly recommended. You can see the announcements for details. And if you don't want to join this week, but later on down the line you want to join at some point, you can join whenever you want. There is no time limit on joining the Discord server. Install Visual Studio Code. So this is what I'm going to be using in lectures and stuff for writing code, and it's what I recommend you use as well. So the Lab 1 video that I created actually shows you how to install Visual Studio Code. You will also need a GitHub account and to install GitHub Studio or GitHub Desktop, not GitHub Studio. um, but yeah, I go into all that in the Lab 1 video for the week, so you can check that out there if you need. And prepare yourself to be self-motivated and ask questions when you have them. Remember, I'm here to help. I'm here to help as much as I can, but I can only help you with an issue or a problem if you bring it to my attention. So please email me or reach out over Discord or wherever you need to. Graded assignments for the week. Remember, I'll just make note of this real quick. You must complete a graded assignment during the first week of class, or you may receive an N grade. Please pay attention to the graded assignments. So these are both, they're both required assignments, but you need to make sure to do these to not get an N grade, which means you would be dropped from the class. So for the week 1 discussion, you'll do the discussion board for the week. You're going to receive 10 points, which is full credit for making a post this week. In future weeks where there is a discussion board, it will be 7 points for a post and 3 points for a reply. And this will kind of apply as well to the lab, except for this week, where this week you get 10 points for just doing the main part of the lab. So the week 1 lab, you'll do the lab for the week. And that's all for the learning guide. So I'll go a little bit more in depth for the stuff. So you can see our learning guide here at the top. Here I have a link to chapter 1 in the textbook. And then I also created a short slideshow and did a little lecture on that. So these are the slides that I made for the slideshow if you'd like them. You're not required to read them, though you are required to watch the chapter 1 lecture. It's just a short video, maybe 15 minutes long, just sort of introducing you to Python and programming this week. For the week 1 discussion, right, take note of the due date. So available until January 18th at 11:59 p.m. means that is the due date for this discussion board. So welcome to class. You're just going to introduce yourself and let us know why you chose to take this course. And you'll receive full credit for making a post this week. For discussion boards, I'm not really a stickler when it comes to like word count or like sentence count or paragraph count or anything like that. Just put in effort and show me that as long as you thoroughly answer whatever the prompt is, basically, will be good for that and you'll get full credit. Okay. So, and again, making note that no reply is necessary this week, but for future weeks it will be. Here is the Lab 1 lecture video. So this is literally a walkthrough of both downloading and getting the different software we need for the class setup, but it also is a walkthrough of what you're going to be doing for the Lab 1. So Lab 1 is super simple. It's free points. You're just going to watch the lecture video and then do exactly what I do in the lecture video. And you will be able to submit the Lab 1. You'll avoid the N mark grade and you'll get a free 10 points for this week. So that'll do it. This one's actually available until January 25th, just because I want to make sure that if for whatever reason people miss it during the first week, you are still able to do it because it is free points and it kind of goes into GitHub Classroom, which will be used for all of our labs and assignments in the course. So it's very important to understand what we're doing here. But that'll do it for week 1. Again, reach out if you have any questions or anything. And I will see you guys in the lecture for the week.